Item Detail Calculation. The Calculation tab determines how an item will calculate. In the top left corner, you set your calculation method, which quantity you'd like to use for calculation. Quantity 1, 2, or 3. This is referring to your quantity 1, 2, or 3 results in your condition detail. Then you'll set the method to use. Most of the items you will work with will use a standard formula to calculate. Let's discuss standard formula before we look at the other options. To the right of your method, you can see your formula descriptions. Standard formula is condition quantity times height divided by on-center spacing times layers. However, you must also take into account the installation method, which is directly below your description. Horizontal will ignore the height in standard formula when checked. Continuous will ignore the on-center spacing in formula when checked. So for this example, continuous is selected. That means ignore on-center spacing in the standard formula. If we reread the formula now, we would read it as condition quantity times height times layers. We would completely disregard the on-center spacing. Once the formula is calculated, the waste factor is added. You can change your waste factor here. Enter in the percentage you'd like to add as waste. Your other options for calculating are to enter direct quantity, which means you yourself will type in the quantity needed, default to condition quantity, which will read directly off of the quantity 1, 2, or 3 result you choose. It will not add waste at all. And last, quantity times height. Beneath the method are your default entries for section, labor cost code, height, on-center spacing, and rows and layers. The section you see here is where the cost will be associated on the Markups tab. The labor cost code will always default to whatever selected here. You will have the ability to change that at the condition level. Height should be left blank at all times unless you want a height to default to a specific number. Then you'd enter a height here. Otherwise, you want your height to update automatically on the height of the condition. And you can do this by leaving height blank. On-center spacing is your default on-center spacing for any item that looks at on-center spacing, for example a stud. And last are your rows and layers. Rows and layers are your multiplier. This can still be changed at the job level. To the right is the on-center exception factor area. If you have a specific factor you'd like to use in calculating studs, for example, you can set that number here. Be aware if you have a number inside either of these fields and your on-center spacing matches either 16 inches or 24 inches, this will overwrite the standard formula. And you will now take a formula that's quantity times height times the number shown here. For more information, contact OnCenter Software today.